Well, hi and welcome to my shop. I'm going to try to finish off this record player in the next hour or so. It's been a few days since I've worked on this. It's just been sitting here in my shop. One thing I did do though is this, I realized that all this speaker wire, extensive speaker wire for the remote speakers, the wire, when you're not in need of it, should be shoved into here. But in fact, somebody had, and I guess this probably happens a lot, had shoved the wire through the hole here back into here. So it's not full of wire now, but until I pulled it back out, this is all full of speaker wire. If you look at the previous video, you'll end up seeing it. And that's not good at all, because somebody's going to pull this wire out someday, and the wire is going to be caught in something here. They're going to tug on it. That's not good. So all they did here to hold this wire, let me take a look here, they just put a knot in it, and the knot of course is bumping up against the hole. That doesn't stop anybody from really playing with this wire, and like I mentioned before, the wire is connected directly to the output leads of the output transformers. There's two of them here. You know, that's all kind of precarious, so this wire really needs to be, this one here, really needs to be fixed down. So I'm just going to staple it in here at some point. Staple it up against the board here. So, a small side story. So now the main story, what to do about all this stuff in here. So in terms of the way this varies from the circuit diagram, especially the dropping resistor for the heaters, which appears to be missing in here, you know, I've decided to leave that as is. The cathode resistors look fine. I'm going to leave that as is. This guy here, this one, which looks like it's been heat affected a bit, looks to me like it's just too small a wattage resistor to do the duty it's been given here. So I'm going to upsize this. This is also measured, I think it was a 175 ohms, and yet it looks like it's supposed to be a 30 ohm resistor, and I think on the schematic, what is it on the schematic? On the schematic, it's a 10. It's a 10. So a 10 would be brown, black, black. It looks to me like orange, black, black, but then this has been overheated. Wow, so it's 100 and something here. That's hard to believe. 100 and something there, I would think would burn up in this position. It would, a little resistor like that, I think it would burn up. So why don't we just take another, let's just take another ohm measurement here, just to double check it. Maybe I got something wrong. Hey, the snow is falling today. How do you like that? It's the last day of January 31st today, and I got lots of snow in December, and then that snow has just kind of sat there and slowly compressed. Already not much snow at all through January till today. I think we're going to get 10 centimeters. We're going to get about that much snow today. So, okay, on the resistor. Okay, 20 ohms. So how did I ever read? That makes a little more sense, because I think if this thing were 175, I don't know where I got that number now, but if it were reading 175 ohms in the position it's in, I think it would dissipate so much heat it would burn up. Let's put this way. Okay, so we get the same reading either direction. So is it because I had it on the wrong scale? No. Well, I don't know where I got that nonsense in my head. So 20 ohms. 20 ohms. Let me just look again at the schematic here. 10 ohms. It definitely says 10 ohms there. So that first band on that resistor is either orange, like it looks. See, it looks the same as these. Orange, or it's red, or it's brown. You know what? Let's see. Let's think about this. It's missing the 200 ohm dropping resistor for the filaments. And you turn this set on, that 200 ohms is missing. The filaments are very low resistance at first until they heat up. There's a huge inrush current going to happen in this unit, more than would have happened based on this schematic. You know, it's pretty quick, so you take a resistor starting from cold, blast it a bit, it's going to warm up, but it probably wouldn't overheat. Even with the 200 missing. So what I'm thinking is, okay, so they took out the 200 and made this a 20. That's what I'm thinking. 10 or 20, 10 or 20, 10 or 20. It's 20 now. Everything's working. This resistor didn't smoke at 20. How about I put a 20 ohm in here of a higher wattage? I think that's what I'm going to do. I think that's the only thing I can do that makes some sense. A 20 ohm resistor. Oh my gosh, have I got such a thing? 20 ohm resistor. Let's see. Okay, I gotta dig around my resistors here. Oh, wait a minute. It's right over here. Hold on a second here. I'm trying to avoid stopping the video. 20 ohms. 20 would be red, black, black, red, black, black, red, black, black, red, black, brown. Uh-oh. Okay, so this I don't have one in here. Red, black, black. Okay, I know where I've got a high wattage one. Okay, so here's a 5 watt resistor. It's a little bit overkill. 20 ohms on there. 21 ohms on the reading. A little surprised it didn't read right on 20, but it's okay. We'll put this guy in here. He won't even get warm. Okay. Now. And I think this is the only component change I'm going to make in here for now. See if I can push this through. I'm going to melt the solder here and see if I can't push it through. I got to watch out for this asbestos here. On the other side, I'm likely to wrap it around there. Let's get the soldering iron going. So I think January is generally a month with little snow in this area. So I don't think the fact I got almost no snow is anything unusual. Almost no snow in January. What should we do about this guy now? He's looking bad. It's protruding out the end here. It doesn't look right. It's just a paper shell here. Hey, he's from Mexico. So I think I'll change out this too. Why not? Throw in two 50s in here. I'll change this resistor first. Okay. It's got to be warm enough. I'll try and do this without blocking the camera. I just want to shove the wire through the hole I imagine is in here. There we go. Put this in position, about like that. Whew. A bit of foul smelling something coming out of there. I have my robot vacuum cleaner working away in the room next to me as we speak. World of robots. Let's see if I can fix this a little bit here. Maybe not. I'm trying to figure out how to do this without putting my hand in front of the camera. That's the trick. It's a bit of a big resistor to fit in here. Let's see if I can turn it words up here. That's good. Now, just to spot my solder. There it is. So for this record player to work, I've got to put the new needle on it, and hopefully the one I found here is going to do it. Because I think that's all that's standing. I think that's all that's really left to do here. Some of you might be saying, well, what are you going to do about that asbestos? And I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm going to leave it totally alone. I think under most rules, this amount of asbestos isn't even regulated in any way. That's a big terminal there. Which means I can just rip it out of here and throw it in the garbage if I like. What I would do if I did remove it is I would double bag it in 2 grocery store bags and throw it in the garbage. And off it would go to a landfill, along with all the other things that have asbestos in them. Okay, so that's it for the resistor. Watch out. Watch out for the asbestos. You're just talking about it. Okay, now this capacitor. So let's see, all the leads are coming out of this end. You can see the black one going to here. And the red one, let's see, there's a couple of red wires in here. One red wire is going here, and the other one, I believe, is going here. They're both 50s, so it really doesn't matter which is which. So first I'm going to try to get... I might leave this in here. It's riveted in on this band here, and getting it out of there is it's ugly. It's very ugly. So what I will do is I'm going to cut these lead wires here. Black one, the 2 red ones. I'm cutting them so I have the most amount of wire left over, even though I don't think I'm going to use any of this wire. I want to get in there. And I could leave this in the circuit too. Sometimes it makes sense to do that. This old one. But I'm not. I'm going to take it out of there. I'm not getting anywhere here. cutting that wire. It's snaked away. Classic mistake people can make, I've made it doing this kind of work, cutting things, is you don't see it, but you're actually cutting two wires, one on purpose and one by accident, but you can't see it. I've done that a few times. Let's see which. Okay, so here's one of them. Here. One, and then the other one, I believe, is this one here. Yep. And then the black wire, pull that one out too. There we go. So I need to get from here to here, and then from here. Could be the same. Look at this. See, there's this blue wire here. It's going over here, so I can go from here to here. And if I have some the right capacitors, okay, let's see if I do. And I'll stop for a minute. Dig up the capacitors. Okay. So these are all 50 or 47 microfarads at 160 volts. I think these are all 160 volt ones. Yeah. Some of them have the leads come out the end. Others have the leads coming out like that. That's what I want. I want two of these guys here. 47 160. 160. Perfect. The rating on this, voltage rating, you can't actually see it. It's around behind, but it could be a little higher. So let's just check it out. I want to do one like this, and then I want to do the other one like this. That'll go just fine. We'll just leave that guy back there for fun. For fun and excitement. Okay. I think I better turn them around right away. Let's put them in the right way right off the bat, so I'm just that much less likely of getting it wrong. Polarity wise. Good enough. So maybe what I'll do is I can leave this bare and make it long and make this short, attach it to the piece there. This side's going to have high voltage on it. This side won't. Yeah, it's not a, yeah. Did anybody get that? Trying to keep my arm from getting in front of the camera, but it's definitely difficult here. This has got a lot of, this terminal has a lot of stuff on it. solder that. I don't remember now what this sounded like, if it was humming or not. I think this one, is this the one that said hums? Won't hum after this. That's for sure. Great big terminal. One, now the other. I should get rid of this red wire now. Red wire and the black wire. It's not going to be easy to cut it away cleanly down here. Go. I'm going to leave the last red one sitting there until I'm finished. Just double checking the polarity on things. So I want this one about like that. Right in front here. Oh wow, okay, so I can't have this quite so short. Uh-oh. Hope I didn't cut that too soon. This capacitor's got to be over there to fit. It's okay, lots of wire. So one of the things that happens to me in here while I'm working is, actually it doesn't happen in here, it happens afterwards. When I'm putting the video segments together into one video, I'm watching myself do this work. And quite often I'm watching and I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, look right over there, look right over there, look right over there, but I won't look right over there. Right over there could be just here. I see it on the video, but here in the shop, I don't see things. I don't see some things. And I thought about that, and it's kind of obvious why. I've mentioned this before. When you're working with your hands, you must keep your vision locked onto what you're working on, and you can't even look a millimeter away. Sometimes what's so obvious on the video, I completely miss here in my shop. Or I find it later, right? I'm doing something else and then I find the thing that was so obvious earlier on. So I'm sure when you watch my videos you have this experience too. You're like, Jim, look at that, look at that, look at that. And I just won't look at it. I said, well, because you're not working with your hands while you're watching the video. You're just watching the video, so your eyes are free to roam. Free to roam. Of course, in our own lives, as we're going along, or as I'm going along here through my life in my shop here, and I miss things that are there to be seen, I don't know I've missed them. And then later, much later, when I finally spot them, I think, hey, it's the first opportunity I've had to find this thing. I'm so happy I found it. But in fact, for video viewers, they may be saying, wait a minute, or worse yet, you may have made a comment on a video and I didn't read the comment. I haven't talked about this recently on videos, but I have a love-hate relationship with comments. I mean, I really appreciate them, and I it's great that people make them, and most of them are trying to be very helpful in what I'm doing. But what I've discovered is if I start reading comments and incorporate those in my process here, it's no longer me. It's no longer me doing this stuff. And in some cases I'm happy with that, but in most cases no. I'm I want to climb the mountain alone. I don't want to ride up to the top of the mountain. It just won't feel right when I get there. If you understand what I'm saying. Okay, so we've replaced the filter capacitor, soldered it in. Didn't I solder it? Son of a gun, I didn't solder that. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's good. Yeah, so we've replaced the big filter capacitor. Check the polarity again. Negative there. Negative there. We've replaced the, I don't know what to call this, inrush resistor, can we call it that? Down here with a big wattage one. Left everything else as is. I'm leaving these capacitors here, these blue ones, because they look fantastic and I have no reason to suspect them yet. Anyway, so I think it's time to test this guy. Yeah, without screwing everything down. We'll just put it back in place and give him a test here. And then we can see what's going on with the cartridge in the whole shot. Flip this guy over. Okay, just looking at how the screws go in there. Okay, I'll bring this down. Oh. So we just stick them up here. Okay for, I mean, it's all on a funny angle and everything, but I think it's okay for testing purposes. Make sure it's off. Speed is 45. Don't think it matters. Plug. Where's the plug? Plug. Okay, we're ready to go here. Volume control. There's two volume controls. Okay, both turned down. tone control somewhere in the middle. Oh yeah. Well, that's okay. No needle, but we'll deal with that next. At least we can make some sound here. Okay, I think we're good to go. Okay, so we have to turn this on. We're going to switch it on to manual. Try not to engage the mechanism here. Let's see what happens. And my dim bulbs gave quite a blast here. I think it's okay. Turntable's turning. Looks awfully slow for 45. Okay, let me hit it with full power here. That's a little better. There we go. A little bit slow to get going there. Maybe some lubrication deals. Okay, so what do you hear? Just a slight hum. Let's turn it up. Sounds like a high impedance input hum. The other channel sounds the same. Don't like that too much. Okay, so turn both up a little bit. I'll touch the cartridge. Now is that both channels? I don't know. I'll turn down this. I think I've turned down this channel. There. The yellow one up about the same amount. It sounds about the same. Okay, so cartridge passes. The amplifier passes. I think what's next is needle. Maybe I'll set this in now. Since I think I'm finished with the amp, I'm going to screw that in place too. What am I doing? Power off. What am I doing? Yeah, see how quickly that stopped? I don't think I've done any lubricating here at all either. Yeah, I got all that to do too. Let's put this guy here. Yeah, it's got all the old lubrication on it. Screw this guy back in place. That means I have to spot what I did with the screws. Here they are. So they kind of just screw this in such a way that it jams the amplifier forward, because there's only two screws holding the back, and then the rest is held by the how this is fit in here, how these are. Again, it's just figuring out how to do this the cheapest, fastest way possible when you're manufacturing this stuff. I'm sure that's what we're seeing here. That was for. I can't remember. Oh, that's got to be one of the hold down screws. That's just fallen out. That's what that must be. That screwdriver's just too long. Ow. Be a little more careful. See the angle the screw's going in on. Doesn't look like much in the camera, but my vantage point is quite an angle. So there, so it's driving the thing forward a wee bit. There we go. That's in. Now, next thing I got to do is I got to fix these wires down. I'd like to staple them. Wow, staple. Okay, let's see if I can find a stapler. Okay, right down to the knot. And we'll try to tack it right there. The big behemoth. Ready? So I'll be able to tamp that down in to hold it. Okay, now we'll get this side. Okay, looks good. Whammo! Perfect. Good. That's good. That'll do it. Not exactly going to stop somebody from doing that, is it? Doing what? Doing this. Pushing the wire back through. I can still do it if they want. I can put a little on the outside here. I can put a little, you know what, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to shove it in the speaker. Whoever owns this next will discover that the wire is in the speaker. And then they'll know from then on. Shove the wire in the speaker. So it's a self-correcting problem here, I think. Okay, now. Oh yeah, lubrication on the mechanism here. Lubrication. So first the test. It's still got a bit of goodness in it. Not much. Take my good friend Mr. WD-40 here. Be the odd spot where you really don't want WD-40. Just kind of spraying it wherever I see the grease right now. That the original grease. Just clean off this excess grease. Fact is, most of the grease you can see here is ineffective anyway. It's not where it really needs to be. And I'm sure when they greased these originally, they don't spend a lot of time doing it. This spot here. Now there are some spots that you do not want to put grease on. One is the velocity trigger, which is usually located way up in here somewhere. And that should be nice and dry. So I'm not going to spray a pile of stuff up in here. The velocity sensor detects the fact that the tone arm is moving faster than it would normally when it's playing a record. So when it gets to the end of the record, the grooves are spread more. So as the tone arm reaches the end of the record, the tone arm moves more quickly. And that quicker movement is what is used to trigger the arm lift at the end, believe it or not, using something called a velocity trigger. Did I say sensor? Trigger is a better word for it. Those parts are usually comprised of a couple little metal plates in contact with each other. No lubrication. No lubrication on those. So lubrication will actually make them sticky enough they won't work quite right. So you have a record player that won't pick up at the end, just gets to the end, the needle stays on the record and it goes fa-dum, 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 like that. Velocity sensor is probably stuck. Velocity trigger rather, and I can't, I'm not gonna, we're not gonna see it on this player, I don't think. Okay, now we're gonna apply some new grease here. As long as I can find it. Quickly, here it is. And this is, where are you here? Synthetic grease. I'm not promoting this or this brand or anything like that. It's just what I got at the Canadian Tire store, which is a very popular hardware store in Canada. Now that I've removed the original grease, I'm trying to remember all the spots I saw it. So I imagine when they made this is exactly what somebody did. They took their finger and so hard up in here. You can hear the old phone arm shifting there. Okay. Now there's often a sort of a ramping mechanism in here where what lifts the, yeah, who knows? I don't know. Now, oil. Where to put some oil? Let's see if we can make this motor spin here. Freely. No, it's rubbing up on something, so I can't really. So the record player is not in its normal position. It's up on its side, so things are hanging in the wrong spot. Here's the rampy thing I was talking about here, the speed control, which bring back the grease. Rampy thing is in here. What I mean by that is it's a spring-loaded metal cam sliding on a usually a saw-like or a saw sort of shape. Yeah. It's going to come up this rampy metal here. May not be getting a good view. Okay, I see another spot I missed right up in here. Again, this is not part. This is part of the mechanism that you, as an operator, operate. So you have a lot of strength. So you can overcome quite a bit of stiffness in some of this stuff. But the mechanism itself only has so much strength, and once the lubrication starts to fail, the mechanism will struggle, because he just doesn't have the phenomenal strength of a human being. So just for the sake of doing it, because it's right there in my face, we will do the lower bearing on the motor. See where a screwdriver is cammed out of this. I'm not maybe the first person to do this, unless when they originally made this, the guy screwing this together had his screwdriver cam out. Now, sometimes these screws go through to a nut on the other side. This one does. That's a hassle. Luckily I can get my finger in there, like you see it. That's lucky. So I'm holding the nut, I can get the screw out. Putting it back together would be a little bit of a challenge. This one doesn't have a nut. This one has a threaded fitting at the end of some sort. There's the nut. Exactly. Okay, now we'll take this cover off. So these have self-adjusting self-adjusting thing here. Let's see. Pretty sticky. Very sticky. So that's an indication of the condition of the lubrication down here. Plus I look inside, it looks dry. And see, this is actually a rounded surface here. Occasionally there's a ball bearing sitting in here, by the way. You can take this off, and without knowing it, the ball bearing can be sitting here, stuck with a little bit of stuff, or it can be in there, and next thing you know it drops out. It's a ball bearing. It rolls. And goodbye. So I say there's no lubrication down here at all. Okay, so this guy, I'm going to give him a touch of this. Okay. We're going to work the self-adjusting bearing thing around. Loosen it up. Yeah, it's gone completely loose now. So this will re-energize any lubricant that's in there also. Re-energize. Where are you? There you are. Gotta make sure I'm holding this up in front of the camera. Just in case you didn't see any of that. Yeah, it's moving just great. Oil. Quickly find the oil. There it is. This is a really precise applicator around the edge, a little bit inside. Now this sits like a cup. This sits like a cup. Unless you turn the record player right upside down. So it should hold a little bit of oil in there. It doesn't take much. Of course, I'm going to turn it upside down right away. Put it back together. Okay. Do it tight yet. Now the challenging one. Especially since I have a little bit of oil on my finger here. Okay, I gotta get my finger up under there into the right spot. And try to engage the screw blindly. It's hard to tell, but I'm slowly adjusting the nut around. Just waiting for it to line up. Just. Okay, wait a minute. My nut has drifted on my finger. A little bit. Slippery finger. Oh, I lost it. I lost it right into the... So this might be like a upper-lower bushing arrangement with a gap in the middle. And that gap is what allows it to do this. Here thing. Just so you can see what I'm doing here. This is what I'm doing. Some of these things, they have like a bushing at the top and a bushing at the bottom. So what I would be trying to do now is drag the lower bushing over. Got the upper bushing free. I gotta just keep going up. Never had one fight this much. Oh, I let go of it and it just shot right down. Come on, you're almost out. Oh, if this comes out, I break into tears because something... Oh, it's nothing unusual at all. Oh my gosh. Okay, I got it. Okay, I got it. Got it after what? What did that take? 20 minutes? Good thing. Yeah, we'll do all the maintenance on this. So this is the velocity sensor I was talking about. You do not want oil on that piece right in there. It's fine. This is not something you ever lubricate. Never lubricate. Even putting alcohol in here, if you use regular rubbing alcohol like I'm using, that leaves a film in here too. So it's not quite as loose as it should be, but we'll get to that. So first, we'll do the whole top maintenance here. Just gonna try to avoid, but got it all apart now. Going to try to avoid it because I didn't think it was necessary. So first we're going to take this off. You know, really when you're going to do one of these record players, you really should count on doing what I'm about to do here. You really shouldn't try to get away without it. Okay, off comes the E-clamp. Now, these guys can be even worse to get off than the platter. And once again, it's on a post that's fixed to the deck here. And you don't want that center post moving. But these can be so gummed up. If you got a record player that just won't do anything, this just won't go anywhere. Could be this is all gummed up. This can be pinned so tight that as you try to take off this casting here, you'll actually loosen up the centerpiece. So the first thing I do is I look at that center post and turn this. Yeah, no problem. And this is not hard to get off. This one's going to be easy. I've had to really work at these. That was easy. Easy, easy peasy. But now you see how dry there's virtually no lubrication in here. Okay, let's clean her up. So I'll make this work like new. Okay, first a little bit of solvent to help out with the cleaning. Another piece of paper towel there. Clean all the old stuff out of there. Now this is another piece here that's meant to move very lightly. That's part of the trigger mechanism for the end of the record. You don't want to put oil on it, or grease especially. Grease is way too heavy. Let me just get the close-up camera on this so we can see a little more in here. So, you know, there's nothing scary, really, about fixing up one of these. Sort of, kinda. A lot of these record players around, these BSR record players are all over the place here. They're all pretty similar. Yeah, so this is an important component here too. This is a roller on a shaft, and these always get frozen. See, that won't turn? It's froze. I'm going to put a little bit of WD-40 on the top. Again, not so much for lubricant, but for solvent reasons. Okay, and while that's soaking, we're going to deal with this bearing here. So top washer comes off. And here we have a ball bearing. Ball bearing tray. I don't know what to call that. Come on. Camera, stay put. Just a sec here. There we go. Okay, so this has got some pretty horrible stuff in it. Let's clean it out. Wow, this isn't the worst. So we don't have to worry about. Sometimes this stuff can be so dry it comes out in flakes, pieces. Also, this is a place where hair can gather. Hair can get down into this thing. I don't see any in this one. Did a record player a few months ago, clearly owned by a long-haired teenage girl. It's full of long hair. Well, it wasn't full, but... So again, I'll have to get all this out. Just got to make room for some new stuff. If you think about the leverage being applied to this, it's very, very high. Which means a little bit of drag here is not the biggest deal in the overall operation of things. Now if you hear some whizzing and clunking and bumping going on, that's my robot vacuum cleaner busy in the laundry room right next door to me here. That's probably good enough. Okay, now we get ourselves our replacement stuff. Silicone grease. More. Goop. That's a lot more. Okay, now there's a bottom washer down here. Let's do it all. I'll put that there. Get this washer up. Under it is a rubber washer. Okay, so that rubber washer is what's trying to insulate a little bit the mechanical sounds and motions and rumble and whatnot of the record player from going down into the, or coming up from the motor up through this and getting all the way onto the platter and then coming out of the speaker. That's it. It's not a lot to it, is it? Put it back on. He's nice and rubbery. These guys here, I just want to clean them up. Make them look nice and shiny again. Again, the lubrication in this particular record player is not a utter disaster. Okay, so we'll put this guy back on. Okay, you think of that as a cup holding the grease in case you can't remember which way it goes. It goes like a cup holding the grease up. Okay. Throw on the top washer. There we are. Now, why did that platter grab this shaft so hard? There's dried lubrication in it. So we got to get rid of that, and it can be a very, very thin film of it. Looks pretty good though. Maybe it's on the inside of the platter. That looks perfectly clean to me, except it's a little bit stained down here. Looks pretty good though, I would say. Go. Okay. Oh yeah, back to this roller now. The roller travels in this track. It will make it through this track without rolling, but it just means the mechanism is fighting that much harder to operate. At some point, it just can't win the fight. Either the traction is going to get weak, the record player is not going to finish its job, or the resistance here is going to get so high. Again, it just can't push the mechanism through. So you really want this thing turning. So the way we do that, I put a little WD-40 on it, and we try to get it loosened up a bit here. Once you just turn it a little bit, once it breaks free, usually the put a little more on top. The WD-40 will penetrate quickly, and the whole thing will become free almost instantly. Let's see. Put a little tool on it here. Okay, I don't want to bend it or reshape it. Did it go free? There it is. There it is. Just like that. Once you overcome that, it's very good. Okay, I'm going to put some light oil into that. Good. Now, velocity sensor. Velocity sensor. Sticky. We'll take it off here. Ow, 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 ow. With that, this is a toughie. These things have a way of going flying. Flying. Ooh, wow, I was lucky. Flying through the shop. There it is. Could have lost it on that. We'll take this off. Okay, should be no lubrication here. Oh, so this guy's working fine. Hear that? Tricky to hold. Yeah, see how that's just falling? That's exactly what you want. Now, why wasn't it doing that while it was on this post? Again, no lubrication. I think it's okay. I think it's okay. I don't think we need to do anything with it. So what's the story, how these things work? It's tricky to explain. Okay, this is even worse for losing these things. Putting them back on. Everything lined up exactly right here. There he is. It's back on. Okay, so each time the record goes around, this piece is moved forward. You know, I'm not going to try to explain this. You'll find videos on it. I've got a video on it somewhere. Velocity sensor, how they work. It's too much for me to explain just when I'm busy working here. Let's clean the inside of the shaft out now. This is critical. A little alcohol for this. Let's just go in there and see what we can find. Yeah, see that junk? It's all got to go. That's why I always say lubrication eventually becomes glubrication. It stops making things slide and starts sticking them together. That's older kinds of lubrication that are made from probably natural compounds instead of synthetic ones. Nature tends to rot away. Anybody notice that? There's not much in organic life that once it forms, it stays. Maybe, you know, shells for crustaceans maybe, but everything else is going to rot. I really want this to be clean in here. I'll know when I go to put it back on. So it should practically fall on here. Let's see. Yuck. Get pretty greased up doing this kind of thing. That just kind of falls on. Oh, you know what? While I'm doing this, I'm thinking about the platter. It's the platter that's really the monster. So, okay, so we got to put some lubrication back. And this is, if you think about the mechanics here, the center post is under huge leverage. So even a little bit of resistance here doesn't mean much. So see those grooves? I'm trying to fill it with the lubricant here. Okay, now this thing itself, I gotta not fill the slot, but you gotta have it in the slot. You don't want too much. Not too much, not too little, just the right amount. And when this thing operates, it's going to move that all around in there. Anyway, okay, just for fun, just for fun. Put a little dab on that guy too. Why not? Got a little bit of grease close to that piece there. We don't want it there. Putting this back on is a little tricky because you've got to get this to sink into the groove, and normally in its relaxed position it's actually outside of the groove, so you need some way to push it in a touch like that, and then you want to push it into the outside edge here, not to try to get it to here, but to get it from here to here. That's easy. That. Like that. Push a little bit, and down it goes. Easy as can be. There we are. E-clamp back. Again, every time I do one of these, I think about it flying. If it does go flying, my recommendation is you stand very still and listen very carefully. And maybe you'll hear where it lands. Or make sure you got a lot of spares. I have a lot of spares. This is my method. works if you take your time and line everything up just perfectly. If you're quick at it, she's going to go flying. Feels a little funny, but I think that's okay. Now, what about the top bearing in the motor, which is available now? I don't want to touch it with my greased up fingers here. So I think I'm going to go wash up my hands and get the grease off at this point. That's what's going on. Yeah, that's it, banging the door there. He's almost done anyway. Now, what was I doing? Washing my hands all clean. Okay, let's spin the motor here and see how it goes. So this is a way of judging the bearings on the motor. It's not really the best way necessarily. Get a little bit of focus here. Come on. Behave, Mr. Camera. Okay, so we spin it. That's not very good. It came to a... hard to see on the camera, but... Now, put a little lubrication right down in there. This is where this lubricating bottle is so helpful. Again, just a little bit. That might actually be a little better. It is getting better. Good. Okay. So we did the top and bottom bearing on the motor. Don't normally oil this guy here because the oil may work its way out into the rubber. We check the rubber for its ability to grip. I use my nail to do that. It's not bad. It's not perfect. I felt better, but this has got some grip. So, and see this mechanism here. When the machine is stopped, this, I think this should be maybe, I think it's like this. So this is pushed off. So it's not sitting the whole time the record player is sitting in your closet. This is not pressed up here. That's very important. Sometimes there's a setting on these record players, like a neutral, park, something of that sort. I don't know, this just doesn't look right to me. On top here. Tiny clearance for the shaft here to fit in. I don't know. Okay, don't stare at it any longer. Just keep going. Just getting the heebie-jeebies that there's something not quite right here. So now we want to clean out the inside of this. Very important in the case of this player. So again, we'll do some alcohol Q-tip thing here. I'm sure there's other solvents you could be using. I kind of like alcohol. This is the lower one that was causing so much trouble. It looks like a hair came out of there. And again, the bearing, bushing, whatever you want to call this, the way this is made is there's actually a how can I explain this? The diameter of this opening is actually smaller at the ends, but in the middle, up in the middle here, it's bigger again. So the middle part, which would be rubbing in here, it's not rubbing. It's actually off. This is only in contact up here, and and down here. That's all. Okay, let's clean it up. Let's check it with a clean end here. You see, I'm in my shop working and I'm vacuuming at the same time. Here, look at it. That's pretty good. Around here. Good, she's cleaned. Okay, now could put a little grease in here. Could put oil. Let's first dry fit it with nothing. See that? See, that's how it's supposed to be. It's just on and off, as easy as can be. I don't think we need much in here. I'm going to put some oil. I'm not going to put grease in there. A fair bit. It's gonna. So there you can see how beautifully it turns now. So we'll put the clamp back on here before I forget. Without this clamp, with this record player right now with it cleaned up, you turn this thing upside down, or because it carries by a handle, you can easily turn it upside down. This platter would fall right off. Regular record players, you know, there's never a time where you turn them upside down normally, but these Suitcase ones, they can be turned upside down. There we go. Okay, where are we at now? We're almost to the needle on the. We're almost to putting the needle on. Let's drop this in place. Get the power cord out the slot. What just fell? I just lose a screw? Yep. Is that a motor bearing screw and I never tightened it in? Oh my gosh. What happened there? Did I not finish that? What? I don't know what happened. I guess I just didn't finish putting this together. Ooh, my gosh. Okay, let's try again. I thought I did this. Maybe I dropped the nut, found it, and then I never finished it. The secret of making this work is keeping that screw spinning. And then wiggling the nut around. Using your X-ray vision. Oh, I think the nut is falling off my finger. Oh, there we go again. Okay, you don't need to see this. I'll get this nut It's unbelievable. I have to take this off to get the nut. The nut is actually trapped underneath there. This time it's easy. Come on. Jeepers creepers. Leave this off for now. I have the feeling I'm going to drop the nut again. Didn't I say I was going to put this on without you watching? There we go. Doesn't feel right at all. My little screwdriver go. There it is. Very tricky. Grab it. Yep. Oh, oh, oh. I actually got it. Down. Down. One more time. There we go. There we are. Let's not screw the deck in until we're sure about things. This has a funny feeling to it. This snapping back and forth thing. Let her on. Not rushing. Make sure everything's lined up. Oh, what's happening there? Ha! What has happened? Something weird there. Right there. Oh. Feels like wires caught in the mechanism, is what it feels like. once again. Oh, that can't be normal. This was supposed to be a quick job this morning. Okay, maybe the little tiny wires at the back here may have gotten caught up somehow. Oh my gosh, I don't know what's... Oh, it's here. What's happening here? Okay, I got another problem. Right in here. I've never seen this before. Let's take a closer look at this. Say, how about another heading? Sure. Oops. It's still a record player. There's a pin right here. Oh, you know what's happened? Let's see, you know, that's not supposed to move on that angle. The whole shaft, the whole shaft up here has been rotated. Remember, I was trying to take the plate off? I rotated that whole shaft, and now it's on the wrong angle because this piece here, this piece here, is going to move over and push on that pin. And when you push on that pin right here, okay, that should be working the mechanism up here. See it moving? Oops, let me try again. Get my finger on it. There it goes. Okay, so that's what's happened. Wow, okay, I've never had that happen before because I've almost never rotated this center shaft. Now I got to rotate it back. Looks like about 45 degrees clockwise. Clockwise from above. 45, above 45. So I'm anticipating this not being the easiest thing to do. So this whole thing, I have to rotate it roughly 45 degrees. Pretty strong gripper, and at the same time I don't want to damage anything. Let's try it with regular pliers, because there's a flat side here. I can get some grip. The rest of it, of course, is round. The flat side, maybe I can get some grip easy here. Okay, 45 degrees. No, it's not coming. Son of a gun. Okay, maybe up in here I can get a grip on it. I have to bring a great big pipe wrench in here and really let her have it. Oh, no, it doesn't want to turn. How do I get myself into these fixes? Okay, here's a whole spot here I can get on both sides. I just want my pliers to grip this thing. Come on! Nope, I haven't got the strength. Let's go in a little further. A little more leverage on the tool. Not at all. It's not moving at all. What a situation. What a situation. I have to put a gigantic pipe wrench on this. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, I couldn't find my smaller pipe wrench, just my great big one. Great big one is just too much. I may have to resort to it, but first I want to try a vice grip on here. Vice grips are powerful tools, and you can do bad stuff with a vice grip. I'm going to try to grab it right in this area here. The whole deal about the vice grip is that you want it to bite into the metal, and I don't really want it to bite into the metal. Come on, you can do it. Yeah, it's turning. 45. Okay, that's about 45. Okay, so a little more. I can actually watch it from down here. Come on, turn. Wait a minute, this is coming from an angle here. It's this whole... You can afford to have this a little bit of alignment because the two parts just touch each other. They don't lock in some way. A little bit of lubrication in there, I missed that. Ooh-ah. That was mostly gas. There we go, silently. Working. Okay, now I'm gonna, without turning the motor on, I'll be the motor. So there we are, I'm the motor. Here, actually we need this to be like this. Actually up and over is fine. Up and over is fine. Okay. Manual. And now, here we go, reject. Now you can really feel what the motor has to do there. Mechanism moved. There, no bounce back or anything. Okay, another one solved. Wow. Wait a minute, this didn't quite come loose. Turn that off. There we are. We're getting close to playing this record. Getting closer all the time. Let's put it back in. Okay, now it's in. It's almost ready to play a record. Let's check the mechanism here without playing a record. I'll put on a record I could care less about, Seals and Crofts. Get Closer. That's the name of this album. Oh, nice pictures there. Believe it or not, I had hair like that once. And then it went away, to my surprise. Guess we better put the power on now. So this is turned off. Nothing should happen. Make sure the volumes are down. Not that it doesn't even have a needle in it yet. So, okay, baby, let's see it work. Okay, it's hard to see. Can you see the motor is spinning? I will now reject. Oh, perfect. See that struggle? Do you see that struggle? But it made it. It might just take a few times around to get all the lubrication worked into all the areas that it needs to go into. So, in my mind, this just worked perfectly. Now, what about sticking a needle in there? This is the needle I have. N72, I think that's what this takes. A little bit of grease on there. Rub it up. Let's see if this is right. Look at that. It's not right. So this is actually short. There's the original one. Yeah, so the original one is a little longer. It's still going to work. I think it's still going to work. Yeah. Let's do the close-up. Do the close-up. As I find the camera. Let's go really close here. Hold on a sec. So you see that the needle I've got is short. That green shaft should go through the white cradle. But instead the needle part is riding right in the cradle. Now let's see, is there enough clearance here? Oh yeah, needle sticking out. Well, I think it's going to work. It's just not quite the way it's supposed to be. And I guess if it's, you know, if things don't fit quite right in there, you can get a rattle. You can get the little arm I put in there, and then it has the grip that's coming from the cartridge, the white grip. It's supposed to ride like that, but it may ride like this. Boom, 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 boom. And what's that going to sound like? Well, it's not going to sound like bum, 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 bum. It's going to sound like a buzz sound. Okay, back up. So the size detector here is a little gooey. Exactly where that's sticking. It's okay this way, but it's not good this way. I think it's right inside here. It's sticking. Okay, won't worry about it right at the moment. We'll worry about whether we've actually got a playing player. I'm going to have to order a... Okay, so I have to order a needle. This one doesn't work. Okay, man. Let's let her rip. Oh my gosh, I got this way up in the air. Okay, so first of all, it's out of adjustment. It missed the record. Hear it? Oh, wait a minute, it's on 78 also. Tricky turning this lever. That needle is, the needle part is going right through the white ripper. Let me put it right on here. There we go. What do we hear? A lot of buzz. That's one channel. the other. Okay, can't let that play long. I'm having a real struggle with copyright hits these days. You know what else YouTube does? YouTube analyzes your video to see if there's anything disgusting in it that they wouldn't want to match up an advertiser with your disgusting video. About half my videos they identify as disgusting. It's just an algorithm. You know, a long video somewhere in there, the algorithm's going to go, hey, that's disgusting. And I have to order a manual review on about a third of my videos. It takes about 2 days for them to do the manual review. All this happens right at the major viewing of my video. So, I think I expressed frustration about this before with YouTube. You know, they got to do what they got to do to preserve their business. But it sort of hurts people like me a lot. Okay, I don't make my dollar every day. I need that dollar. Now what about this thing? We can't just ignore this. It really is supposed to just flop back down. So I think a little WD-40 shot right in there. Boldly shoot it in there. Boldly now. Ooh, that's bold. There we go. That's the way it should be. Sometimes in life you gotta be bold. That's so when you pick the record up, this arm is no longer in the way. The edge of the record will just go up like that. And that's how the record player detects that you've put a big 12-inch record on here. I think we're done. I think this guy is finished. I think this is about as far as I can get with it. Working okay, I would say. So we're just gonna tighten down those screws, and I think we can put him away. Fantastic. I'm busily putting these screws down, and I realized there's one thing. Oops, I didn't do. What made me think of it is I'm standing here smelling. It smells like something roasting. What about those wires up against the tubes? Okay, so I get this apart again. Huh. Okay, let's take a look here. What is touching those tubes? That's the question. Okay, so where are the tubes? Brown wire here. Move it over. And these wires again. Okay. Let's so it's these wires and this wire in this case, because it just after I finished working with it, it ended up on top of this tube here. Yeah, sorry, these wires here. Yep, power's off. Double off. So I want these wires to hide up here somehow. Want it to interfere with any of this. It's right here. Wow, that's tricky business. So that tube pretty much heats up this motor. So I can do this with this one. That kind of snugs it all away, doesn't it? Hey, that was pretty good. Hey, that did it. Just pulling this brown wire here. Let me just bend this a little bit. Kind of lock it in there. I think that did it. Put those around there. These guys aren't coming in contact. The contact's over here. You know, maybe over 20 years it's going to droop down again, but for now, that's good. These ones, I really want to go off to the side here. This brown one is a ground wire. Brown for ground. Notice they are not, you know, well, there's where the noise comes from. These aren't shielded. These are not shielded. Worst shielding in the world here. I have no idea if that would help at all or make things worse. I'm pretty sure they put this down, they're going to move over that way. Here we go. There they go. There we go. It all looks good this time. Nothing cooking. Okay, back to putting it back together finally. Okay, everything's screwed down, ready for another test. Power on. Okay, so the switch is in the on position right now. We'll give it a moment. I guess if you turn this guy on, start the record right away, there's a good chance the needle will be on the record before the amplifier warms up. Oh, it's warmed up already. Maybe not. Here we go. This is side 2. Still missing the record here. Okay. She's a working. Good. I think that's it. Oh, we gotta check one more thing. Can it finish off? That's a tough go, but it did it. Oh, I gotta get this adjustment right. Okay, so we're gonna adjust the dropping position here. So there's an adjustment screw. You can almost see it on camera here. It's right here. Tighten that down. I think the arm moves this way. Loosen it off. I think the arm moves this way. So I have only a 50% chance of being wrong. We'll turn it 1/2 turn. 180 degrees. Try it again. No! Oh, you know what happened there? I'll tell you what happened there. Don't be fooled by that. That was because it didn't drop the record and it doesn't know it's a 12-inch record. Oh, and then, yeah, now it thinks there's a permanent way in. Okay, let's do this right. That drops to the bottom. Now it thinks there's no more records to play. It's good to exercise the mechanism anyway. See how nicely it picked up that time? Perfect. Now we got to raise the record up. Or have to manually operate this lever. One way or the other. Fool the record player. Okay, here we go. Where are you going to set down? This was 180 back out. It's even worse. Okay, it's even worse. So we'll go 180 back. to go only 90. We're going to see if that did it. Caught it, I think. Okay, we can take it in a little bit further. Try that. Up. Off. Back on. Make sure the little detector lever is under the record. Let's take a good look at this now. Yeah, that looks perfect. Every time you run the mechanism, it moves better and better too. There we are. Now it should shut right off because the overarm is down. That tells the record there's no more record player, there's no more records. We got her done. She's a done. Great. Okay, well, thanks so much for watching this series on this record player, and not sure what's coming next.